the hour, Bucket the hour shy, Bucket the hour, Bucket the hour shy, Bucket the hour, Bucket the hour shy. Call Elohim Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Recall, Kadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders which are a great millstone. Peace and blessing to the sincere Akim, pushing his truth and sincerity. And those you putting the videos up throughout the week to feed the sheep, some qua for the Trump and the VA camp. And I'm going to get right into it. It says, Trump blames Iran for U.S. embassy attack in Iraq. Vows to hold regime fully responsible. Let's see.
Where Iran-backed militia supporters have attacked the U.S. embassy in the Iraqi capital. Protesters seen there smashing the main gate and storming inside, with the sounds of gunfire and flames seen rising from inside the compound. President Trump now calling on Iraqi forces to protect the American embassy. Good morning, everyone. I'm Sandra Smith.
Hey, good morning, Sandra. Good morning, everyone. I'm Eric Sean, in for Bill Hemmer this morning. That violence erupting in Baghdad 2 days after those U.S. airstrikes against Iranian-backed militias in Iraq and Syria. That in retaliation for those rocket attacks that killed an American contractor and wounded 4 of our soldiers in northern Iraq.
Rich Edson, live at the State Department with what we are learning now. Rich, good morning.
Hey, good morning, Sandra. And officials at the U.S. Embassy in Baghdad say there is no evacuation, despite reported claims from Iraqi officials. But there are thousands of protesters there. They crowded, carrying flags, many from Iran-backed militias, into Baghdad's heavily guarded green zone, where the U.S. has its largest diplomatic facility in the world. The Associated Press reports they smashed a main door and set fire to a reception area. The protest began after prayer services for the 24 Iran-backed militia fighters killed in U.S. airstrikes over the weekend. President Trump has tweeted, quote, Iran killed an American contractor, wounding many. We strongly responded and always will. Now Iran is orchestrating an attack on the U.S. Embassy in Iraq. They will be held fully responsible. In addition, we expect Iraq to use its forces to protect the embassy and so notified. The American airstrikes in Syria and Iraq over the weekend struck Kataib Hezbollah. It's an Iranian-backed militia. The Trump administration says Kataib Hezbollah is responsible for a missile attack Friday on an Iraqi military base that killed an American contractor. Senior State Department officials say after so many attacks from Iran-backed fighters and their significant presence in Iraq, the United States had to respond in a way Iran understands. That's with airstrikes. The Iraqi government, caught here between American and Iranian influence, protested the American airstrikes as a violation of Iraqi sovereignty and warned they would invite trouble just hours before these protests began. Now, members of Congress are beginning to react to all this. Senator Marco Rubio says the Iraqi government is the recipient of billions of dollars of U.S. aid and American military assistance, and they should do their job, which is to protect all diplomatic facilities. Sandra, Eric, back to you.
All right, a lot more information coming on that. We'll bring that to Let's begin this hour with the developing situation out of the Middle East. Right now, hundreds of protesters are attempting to storm the U.S. Embassy in Baghdad, demanding its closure. Officials say over 20 people have so far been injured in the unrest. All this comes after American bombing raids in Iraq and Syria killed 25 over the weekend. With all the latest, here's RT's Paula Slayer live for us in Tel Aviv. Paula, what else can you tell us?
Well, as we speak, the situation continues to unfold. Tensions are incredibly tight on the ground as we speak. We know earlier that the U.S. Embassy staff, including the ambassador, were evacuated from the compound, but we are hearing from eyewitnesses that there is still smoke at the compound. There are still several hundred people there who are trying to storm, and we have been receiving reports of American soldiers on the main roof of the compound building. All of this coming as Iraqi security forces continue to fire tear gas at protesters. Now, many of them were participating in funerals earlier on Tuesday that were held for some of the victims of the Sunday night airstrikes carried out by the United States. And when those funerals ended, the processions made their way through to the American Embassy compound. Earlier, the American ambassador to Baghdad was summoned for an explanation of the American strikes that hit some 5 targets belonging to the Kataib Hezbollah armed group. Now, this is a group that came about after the American invasion of Iraq. In recent times, it has repeatedly been targeting American forces. It's also been the main Shia group involved in fighting against Islamic State in both Iraq and in Syria. It is Iranian supported, so of course this is some of the concerns that are happening here in the region as to whether or not this will see some kind of potential showdown between the United States and Iran. And certainly I can tell you that the region itself is very tense.
So it says Iran warns U.S. its Middle East dominance is over after naval drills with Russia and China. So there was a drill with Russia and China, because and then also at the same time you got Trump dropping bombs over there in Iran, and well, yeah, Iran, Iraq over here in over there in the east, and basically now that Iran has the support of China and Russia, look what they're doing. They're starting to storm and take down U.S. embassies, because they say, you know what, we got support of 2 of the biggest powers. Now we ain't got nothing to worry about. Now y'all go up against us, y'all gonna have to go up against them now. This is the commander of Iran's Navy has warned that the U.S. has no business in the Middle East, in the Middle Eastern waters, after his forces held joint naval drills with Russia and China. It says Rear Admiral Hassan Qasadi told reporters Sunday that the 4-day exercise in the Indian Ocean and the Gulf of Oman, dubbed Marine Security Belt, was a signal to the U.S. forces operating in the region. Today, the era of Americans' free action in the region is over, Qasadi said, according to the Iranian Tasman news agency. They must leave the region gradually, he added.
Have been more weapon in the hands of sort of the bigger, more advanced countries in the world, as well as the threat from drones, which are tougher to detect, tougher to defend against. And so part of it is just these are emerging threats, and we need, therefore, new solutions. Part of it, I think, is, you can sell all the weapons you want, but ultimately what makes those weapons effective is kind of having the sort of apparatus and competencies in place to deploy them, and then also having the strategies in place, because, of course, weapons themselves are just tools. You need strategies to deal with these types of conflicts and hopefully prevent these types of conflicts. And so perhaps there's sort of a wider problem set here that we need to focus on.
It says the joint drills coincided with an attack on American forces in Iraq, suspected to have been launched by the Iranian-backed militia. The rocket attack on an Iraq military base on Friday killed 1 American civilian defense contractor and wounded 4 service members. In response, the U.S. conducted airstrikes on Iranian-backed forces in Iraq and Syria. Qasadi said Sunday U.S. forces were not needed in the region. Regional countries themselves can ensure security together, he said. The presence of Americans only creates insecurity in the region, he added, according to the state-backed F- far as the news agency, the rear admiral suggested that Iran's friends would be reassured by the exercises, while its adversaries should take the drills as a warning. He also said he hoped more regional nations would join the future Iranian exercise. We believe that maritime security definitely needs collective action. So Iran is he feeling good about himself now. He's starting to sip on that juice since he got some backup now. Watch this. Matthew 24:2, and Yahushua said unto them, see ye not all these things verily I say unto you, there shall not be left here one stone upon another that shall not be thrown down. And everything about this place is going to be thrown down. America is going to be destroyed. All these governments are going to be destroyed. When you go into Jeremiah, the 51st chapter, it goes into how Yahweh is going to use his battle axe, his battle axes and his weapons of war to destroy nations and kingdoms. So these places are going to come down. It says, I'm going to jump to 4, and Yahweh shall answer and say unto them, take heed that no man deceive you. For many shall come in my name, saying, I am Mashiach, and shall deceive many. And ye shall hear wars and rumors of wars. And right now we're seeing the wars. But this is like a small wars with these bombings. And also along with Israel shooting those missiles off. I think it was against Iraq. And then you're gonna then it is you hear the rumors of war where America is going to ultimately have the super war against all the other nations, starting with Russia and China and North Korea. All these things are at the helm as well, which the elites do not really want that smoke because they know that's going to be their downfall. They know it's going to be their downfall. They're not even ready yet. They're prepping for it, but they know they ain't ready yet. It says, and rumors of wars, see that ye be not troubled. For all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. And we're not troubled at this. We're actually happy about this because Yahushua told us things like this, like he just said, things like this must happen for him to come back. Okay, this place has to be destroyed. You gotta, like Ecclesiastes, I think it's the 3rd chapter goes into, is a time to destroy and a time to build. And you gotta destroy before you can build up. It says, for nation shall rise against nation and kingdom against kingdom. And this is happening right now. Nation is going up against nation. Races are going up against races. And you got you got all these kingdoms going up against kingdoms. Iran, China, Russia, North Korea, the U.S. And right now you got all these Trump stirring up all the Edomites to come up against the Jakes and forming militias here in Virginia, where I'm at, getting ready to go up against Esau himself. Esau getting ready to go up against Esau so they can keep their guns. Like, we're at the end times right now. We're there. And this thing can pop off literally like any day now. Okay. Now, me personally, I believe they're gonna at least implement that 2020 that real ID thing is going to be implemented before Jacob Shubble actually pops off, so they can get people in the idea of like one ID for everything, and then slowly transition that into something where the ID is going to go into, because like when you look at China, I believe it's China where they got the social credit score thing. All their ID is all tied into one thing. The ID, their money, everything is, their bank accounts, everything is all tied in to one big account. And America America is fixed on getting it. I mean, I did a video probably a couple weeks ago, and Witchcom was talking about it. What's his name? I think it was the Microsoft guy. I can't think of that clown's name. He was talk. It was either him or Steve Jobs. One of those guys were talking about. They wanted to bring over the China credit score system, but as you can see, things are heating up. I don't even think there's ever even been a case where the U.S. embassy has been attacked like that. I don't even think this has ever even happened before. But with that, I want to give all honor and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakal, Kadash, Adawan Ratazah Thumb Yakal, Shalom.